It was a big weekend in the state of Pennsylvania. Some political heavyweights traveled to the Keystone State to make a final push for Senate candidates, Republican Mehmet Oz and Democrat John Fetterman, who are locked in a tight contest.
Your right to choose is on the ballot. Your right to vote is on the ballot. Social Security and Medicare is in the ballot. There's something else on the ballot. Character. Character's on the ballot.
A vote for Doug Mastriano is a vote to restore safety, opportunity, and hope. Doug, please come on.
CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns joins us now from the great state of Pennsylvania. So CHB, former President Barack Obama also rallied voters in Pennsylvania alongside President Biden. What was their message to voters, and how did it compare to Donald Trump's messaging in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, Pennsylvania was totally packed with presidents over the weekend, and they're all trying to use this star power to really turn out the vote. I mean, the closing campaigns have essentially made their messages and their pitches to voters, and right now it's all about getting that every last vote to show up. So Obama's message was very much focused towards Democrats who may be feeling a little bit demoralized, maybe looking at the economic situation and feeling like things aren't that great right now, but he was trying to remind them that midterms are incredibly consequential. And he actually referenced his own presidency when he got, whooped, as he said, during the 2010 and 2014 midterms and what that does to a president's agenda. So that was really kind of his push in these last final days and hours. And the Republicans are trying to really capitalize on an environment that is pretty favorable to them. I mean, we talk all the time about historic headwinds, facing the party in power. You have that compounded with the economy, inflation, crime also rising to the top of voters' concerns among Republicans and among Democrats as well. So really, the Republicans were trying to capitalize on that. Donald Trump's visit here was for Dr. Oz and Doug Mastriano, who's running for governor. But we also know that this is very much about Trump himself, because over the weekend we were reporting that he is considering launching his own presidential bid in, perhaps just a couple of weeks here.
So, as you point out, there's sort of two races that are being focused on, one for Senate, one for governor. Give us an idea of what the polls are indicating.
Yeah, I mean, here in Pennsylvania, that Senate race is very, very close, and you can feel it on the ground here. I mean, we're talking to people from both camps who are trying to kind of figure out how this will go, and we'll find out soon enough, or actually maybe not soon enough, because Pennsylvania will have to take a while to count votes. I know we'll talk about that in a second, but the governor's race isn't as close. Doug Mastriano, who is a top election denier, an acolyte of former President Trump, is running for governor on the Republican side, but he is behind Josh Shapiro, the Democrat who's the current attorney general here in the polls. So if Shapiro is leading, and lots of people on the ground here feel like he is well positioned to win, the question is, does he pull Fetterman along with him, or help turn out some of those voters that Democrats need, or do voters split their tickets and perhaps vote for Shapiro and Oz? That's a phenomenon that we may see this cycle, and it's notable because it hasn't been the case in politics for a while now. It used to be, that people chose based on the candidate, not the party. Nowadays, you guys know, it is so focused on kind of what jersey you're wearing. So if we do see some ticket splitting, that will be significant, but we could also see just the voters coming home to their base.
So what are you hearing from voters, Caitlin? You're talking to voters as well, in addition to interviewing some of the candidates. What are they telling you?
Yeah, I mean, voters are telling us what you've been hearing in all of these other critical battleground states, that things just cost a lot of money. Life just kind of feels hard. Things are expensive. Gas is expensive. But the issue, especially here in Pennsylvania and especially in Philadelphia, that we've been hearing from both Republicans and Democratic candidates is that they are concerned about the issue of crime. Yesterday, we followed some canvassers knocking on doors in minority communities, and people there we're bringing up the issue of crime. Does that necessarily mean they're going to vote for the Republican? Maybe, maybe not. They may be voting for the Democrat, but this is an issue that is resonating with people at a really acute level. We've seen that here in Pennsylvania. I've seen that in Wisconsin and some of these others. There's also been a lot of fear mongering, of course, a lot of tactics to help drive out the vote on crime. But this is an issue, just talking to voters, that does resonate. You know, the biggest question is kind of how the economy plays, how inflation plays, how crime plays. I will also say that Democratic voters that we talk to are still very much animated by the issue of abortion access. And that's also something that we've been following this race, kind of whether and how the issue of abortion mobilizes voters. And a lot of Democrats I've talked to said that, look, this is something that will definitely speak to the base, and in midterm elections, the base turning out is what helps you win.
So you alluded to the assertion that we probably will not find out the outcome of this race, you know, tomorrow night. If anyone remembers what happened during the last election, you know, there's a possibility that things could drag out a bit.
Yeah, I'm having flashbacks of talking to you guys in 2020 outside the Philadelphia Convention Center for days and days and days as they were waiting to count the votes. And that's what you should likely expect here. Same kind of thing. Unlike other states, Pennsylvania never changed their election laws, so they still cannot open up mail-in ballots until Election Day. And that means that, you know, the processing of ballots that we see in other states, they can kind of get that done to be able to start counting those ballots. And that makes the process run a little more smoothly. But Republicans here had the opportunity to change that law, and they didn't. So can't open ballots until Election Day. That means it's going to take a while to actually count those votes, considering that we're expecting a lot of mail-in ballots and considering that this race, especially for the Senate, is going to be so close. So you can't really make projections likely until you have kind of every ballot counted here. So expect a long week. And again, just to remind our audience that that does not mean anything nefarious is going on. This is part of the process here. Voters will have to be patient, but because Pennsylvania could determine the outcome of who controls Congress, especially in the Senate, that means all eyes will be here, and we'll be here too.
All right, Caitlin, thank you.